Hello, I'm Lewis and this is DIY Machines, the channel where I get to show you step by step how to make awesome things. And today I'll show you how to take a photograph of someone and turn it into an edible chocolate in a matter of just a few hours. I'm always revisiting AI, wondering what I might be able to do with it next as it continues to improve. And as a maker, I'm also feeling that self-imposed pressure of constantly trying to come up with new, giftable ideas for my friends and family. That's when I got a very well-timed email from Hitem3D offering to provide their tool for a video. They specialise in turning a single image of someone into a 3D printable model, which we can make into chocolates. So, what are you going to need to make some of your own? Well, you're going to need a photograph from a camera. A mobile phone's photo works just fine. A free account on Hitem3D. A printer to print the model with. I'm using a resin printer to try and get as much detail into my mold as possible. A vacuum former. You're also going to need some plastic for the vacuum former, some resin or filament for your 3D printer, and let's not forget the chocolate for those molds. So I'll go over the best practices for capturing a new image or altering an existing one ready for Hitem3D. We'll then use Hitem3D to turn that image into a 3D model. That 3D model will print on our 3D printers and then use that print to create our chocolate molds using a vacuum former. I'll also go over a super simple crash course on chocolate molding. I'll show you an easy method using candy melts and also a more quality way using tempered chocolates. They come out so good, I think you could probably sell them. Step 1. Capturing your image. For the image, a passport style background, a nice plain one like this, is ideal. I could probably use a screenshot from this. So I'm going to unclip my microphone and we'll use that image to show you how easy it is. Though in my experience, it's not too fussy about the background. As long as it's blurry and there aren't other faces in there for it to get confused with, you should be fine. So let's head outside and grab another picture and we'll use that as well to show its other abilities. Step 2. Making it 3D. To begin the process, we'll head on over to hitem3d.ai. Now, you can create a free account in the top right. I already have one, so I'm going to log into that now. Now, once you're signed up or logged in, we can head over to the 3D relief mode you'll find on the left-hand side. It's as easy as selecting your image from your computer and then clicking generate. This number here will show you how many credits this is going to use. In this case, it's 10. And up here in the top right, you can see how many credits you have remaining. Hitem3D is going to work to design a 3D relief style drawing of our portrait. This is ideal for our chocolate mold as it's designed to avoid any overhanging geometry, which is going to make it much easier for us to release our chocolate shapes from the molds later on. Now, whilst it's drawing that up for us, I also encourage you to have a play with their portrait mode. This is where Hitem3D really shines with its technology. You can upload a single image or several from different angles if you have them, and it will create a single bust in full color if you like, with excellent geometry and detail. I'll throw in the same image now and I'll show you a couple of the things which I find quite impressive. So here is the portrait model Hitem3D made from the same single image that we're using for the relief model. Now, just like the relief model, these are ready to be dropped into your slicer. Did you notice how it's managed to deal with those troublesome areas underside my chin and the other areas hidden in the original photograph, like the rear side of my head and behind the ears? These are traditionally very taxing for AI, but this is using Hitem3D's version 2.1 engine and its 1536 resolution, which has done a really good job of it, with some realistic artistic infills of all that missing detail. So here's a little table showing you the images I put in, the mode I used, and what we got out the other end. If we take a look at the multi-photo version, it's even more impressive. We can turn off the color and see how the geometry itself has taken the correct texture for the right materials. Pretty cool. Now, I'm definitely not saying this is a flawless process. I mean, this one is, I don't know, I don't like it. I think it's because I took it on the selfie camera of my iPhone, and that has quite a wide lens. So I think if you can, try and get a little bit more distance from your lens and use a telephoto or optical zoom so that you don't get as distorted a photo as I have here, which is terrifying. If this happens though, of course, you can have a free retry. Now, as awesome as this is, if we were going to use this to make our 3D chocolate mold, we'd have to slice it in half and worry about overhangs, nooks and crannies, sort of keying our chocolate into the mold and making it difficult to remove. So we're going to carry on with the 3D relief model it should have prepared for us by now. Of course though, I do have a 3D printer and I have printed it to have a look. Check it out, it's pretty cool. Looking back at our relief model now, once it's been analysed, we can play with some of the parameters, such as the style of backing and depth of the features. As I want to add my own backing in the slicer later, I'm going to disable the option here, set the depth of the model to 6mm, and then export it as an STL. Now, as our model is print ready straight from Hitem3D, I'm going to take the file and drop it straight into my slicer. I'm going to be using Chitubox. After dragging and dropping in the model, I set the max dimension of the relief to 60mm. I'm then going to right click and add a simple cylinder shape and set it to 70mm in width and 5mm high. Then I'll raise the model upwards by 5mm to ensure that it's sat on the end of our cylinder. And actually, I think I could probably make the model slightly larger, so let's push this up to 80mm to better fill the circle. But still, let's limit its depth to just 8mm to ensure that we can still demold the chocolate later on. With the model sliced and the file sent over to the 3D printer, we'll head over there now and start the printing. Step 3. Printing. So I'm going to print my parts on the Halot X1 resin printer. The resin is going to give us some really nice detail into our mold. Now I'm going to print directly onto the build plate without a raft or brim, as I can use its twist to release style build plate to detach the model nice and easily. This also helps to keep down the print height of our model, which means the print time is under 40 minutes. So let's get going with that. Step 4. Making the molds. The next step for the project is the vacuum forming. Now I've gone ahead already and tried several different materials, including HIPs, PETG, EVA and more, to see which ones are most suitable for what we're doing. And of course, we need to use something that is food safe as well. Having looked through all of these, I have settled on some EVA, a soft one, and some 1mm PETG. In my tests, you do get more detail with the PETG, but it can be trickier to demold and clean between batches, whereas the EVA trades less detail for easier release of the chocolate. Now, I'm relatively new to vacuum forming, and this is my first machine. It's basically an unbranded dental former which has been imported. It's been great for this project. It's low cost, and you can find it on Amazon and AliExpress, both of which I've linked down below for you. You simply add a sheet of your plastic into the frame, and then you place your part you want to make a form of, also known as the buck, onto the perforated plate below. Turn on the heater. As the plastic heats, it will first momentarily rise upwards before sagging back down. You want it to sag downwards about the same amount as your buck is tall. You then quickly turn off the heater, turn on the vacuum, and pull the plastic down around it. A few seconds later, and you've got your mould. You can keep using your printed buck many times over to make as many moulds as you need. It's a good idea to thoroughly wash your moulds and give them a good dry before we pour any chocolate inside them. Now, there definitely is some skill in melting down chocolate and turning it into a new shape whilst keeping the qualities we love so much about chocolate. An attractive shiny surface, a satisfying snap, and resistance to melting in your hand. All of this is achieved with something called tempering. This helps prevent unsightly sugar blooms, stops the chocolate from staying soft, and stops it from melting too easily in your hand. Now, I am by no means a chef or an expert in chocolate, though I have eaten quite a lot recently. I will go over what I've learned so far and seems to be working for me. Though if you do want an easier route than using real chocolate, you could consider something like these candy melts. They are much easier to work with thanks to their higher vegetable oil content, and so don't require tempering in the same way. You can simply melt them in either a microwave or over a bain-marie and pour it into the moulds and let it cool. Now, it's not all wins. The downside to using candy melts is you get a less than ideal taste and texture. So let's go and temper some chocolate now. So tempering in a nutshell is simply the process of melting and then cooling chocolate in such a way that allows the cocoa butter crystals to form in a favourable arrangement. This is how we get that nice shine, snap, and stop the chocolate from melting too easily in your hands. If you're using a bar of chocolate, you'll need to chop it up finely. Or you can buy these bags of pellets like I have, which we can simply add to our container. Put about 2/3 of the chocolate you think you'll need into a heat-proof bowl. Melt this gently over a bain-marie or in short microwave bursts, stirring often. You want it to be fully melted but not overheated. For dark chocolate, you're aiming for about 45 to 50 degrees centigrade, and milk chocolate about 40 to 45 degrees. Once you've reached this temperature, take it off of the heat and add your remaining chopped chocolate. Stir constantly. This helps to cool the chocolate down and introduces the right crystal structure that we are looking for. Keep stirring until it thickens slightly and feels cooler. The target temperatures are 28 to 29 degrees Celsius for dark chocolate and about 27 to 28 degrees for milk. To test the temper of the chocolate, dip a knife in it and then leave it for a couple of minutes. It should go glossy and feel firm rather than tacky. If it does, you're good to go. If it doesn't and it's dull or streaky, it's out of temper. Don't worry, you can just remelt it and try again.
Oh.
Now we can pour our beautiful tempered chocolate into our moulds. The aim here is to avoid trapped air bubbles. Tap the mould as you pour it to release any bubbles. And if you found that you have added too much into your mould, you can simply scrape away the excess. Leave them to set at room temperature for about 15 to 20 minutes. Once set, they won't be sticky to touch at the rear, and you should see they pull away ever so slightly from the edges of the moulds. Don't put them in the fridge unless the room you're in is very warm.
And there you go. You can literally take a photograph of someone in the morning and then by the afternoon be creating 3D chocolates of them thanks to the model produced by Hitem3D. It's really as easy as that. Now, I really hope you've enjoyed this project. If you have, please consider giving it a like and subscribing and sharing it with anyone else you know who might find it interesting. Please also consider having a look at my Patreon page and my YouTube members to help support future videos like this so I can continue to document and share these for free. Once again, thank you for watching the video, and until the next one, do some good and ciao for now. Shine. You can take a similar image, single. Now there is definitely some skill. Ooh. Ooh. Eat my mistakes. Whoops.